Ahoy! I am the MMA Professor, and I'm here to do UFC 128 predictions, taking place this Saturday, the 19th. Yep, that sounds about right. Happy St. Patty's Day. See that? That's right there. Green beer. Gonna try to make my way downtown. Some pub crawls. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. That's how it is. Fly by the seat of my pants. How it happens. It's a fucking awesome card. Let's get into it. Nick Catone against Konstantinos Philippou. Catone coming off a gigantic layoff over a year. Konstantinos, the fresher of the fighter, but taking this fight on short notice. So it will be at a catch weight of 195. So means, depending on his, I guess, training regimen, he may not be in the best shape right now. A lot of fighters balloon up to a weight that's completely unacceptable between fights, and some fighters treat MMA as a lifestyle and don't ever get that high. I'm not judging either way. I'm just saying. So you got a fighter coming off a huge layoff against a fighter who's taken on at short notice. I think Catone either way. I think those both negate itself. I'm talking about this fight too long. Catone, good wrestler, better in submissions, and pretty good boxer. I think Catone is going to finish this fight by submission. Late second, early third round. I think he's just the better overall grappler, and he has better boxing. Doesn't have huge power in his hands, but he held his own with Mark Munoz, who's the better wrestler than him on paper, but MMA wise, I think Catone is the better one. So Catone late submission. Eric Koch against Rafael Assunção. Like this matchup. Eric Koch taking a step up in competition. Koch kind of faltered there. I know he's a Rufus Sport guy, so those of you who know me are looking for me to pick Koch here. And I am still going to pick him. I think Koch, this is a step up in competition against Chad Mendes. He, unquestionably, nobody can say anything about it, that Koch gave Chad Mendes his biggest test. Yeah, Mendes was able to get the takedowns, but Mendes was also hurt fairly bad in that fight, cut, and Koch has improved his grappling. Assunção is probably still the better grappler, if you were going to go, no gi, just straight on. Assunção would probably win on points without subbing Koch, but Koch is the better striker by far. He has the better reach advantage, and Assunção has pretty good boxing, and he's definitely hard to finish, which is why Uriah Faber finishing him is all the more impressive. I think Koch is going to take a unanimous decision here. I think he's going to avoid the takedowns. If not avoid the takedowns, Assunção is not like an elite wrestler or anything. I think Koch is going to be able to win the stand-up. Hurt him badly in a couple spots, but Assunção will come back. He's a tough guy. I like this fight a lot. I hope we see it if it's what I think it's going to be, which is a fairly exciting fight, both on the feet and grappling-wise, and in the transitions from striking to grappling. But I'm going to take Eric Koch by unanimous decision. Joseph Benavidez against Ian Loveland. Joseph Benavidez basically by whatever he wants. I think he's going to win it by second-round guillotine. I think he's the quicker of the two, better boxing, although unorthodox. Ian Loveland, fairly decent striker, decent takedown defense, not very good on the ground. Benavidez is going to win second round, guillotine choke, we'll call it. Preliminary card, Facebook. Yeah, awesome. We get Facebook, we get Spike TV, we get main card. Here's the Facebook. Kurt Pellegrino against Gleison Tebow. Great matchup. I think a lot of people picking Gleison Tebow in this because he's the better, not better, he's the bigger guy of the two. And he's been known to power double leg the shit out of everybody. And that's a technical term. So I get, but I mean, he's done it against guys in Josh Neer and Kaluno, who's very undersized, who can fight at 145, who has fought at 145. Uh, Good top position grappler, not very good off his back. Still, I question his striking capabilities. He's decent power in his hands, okay boxing. I think Pellegrino is going to be able to exploit that. I think he's the better MMA grappler of the two when you combine wrestling skill with jiu-jitsu. And Pellegrino has been known to get caught in submissions that he probably shouldn't, being a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But I think he'll put his boxing combined with his wrestling skill. I think he'll be able to shrug off Tabao's takedowns, kind of like the Joe Stevenson fight. Even though Joe Stevenson, I know, ended up off his back and subbed Tibau with a guillotine. But uses boxing, uses wrestling in reverse, and, outpoint Tibau. Pretty good in scrambles. I think he has the speed advantage here. I'm going to go with Pellegrino by unanimous decision. Ricardo Almeida against Mike Pyle. Interesting matchup. Similar to the Almeida fight that he just had. But Mike Pyle, in his last fight, looked pretty good against Hathaway, who's coming off a devastating performance against Diego Sanchez. Looked very dominant in that fight. But it's similar to the TJ Grant fight in that TJ Grant's a very good grappler, very experienced, decent boxing, heavier hands than Pyle has. And I mean, it's just a similar skill set overall. Almeida hasn't looked devastating at 170. He got choked out by Matt Hughes, and that's really his only falter. I mean, he lacks finishing skills, which he is definitely, I don't think, is going to finish here against Pyle, who's a very experienced grappler. Although Pyle has been finished before, again by stupid submissions. It's these experienced guys that just lack something when they get into the cage and just make stupid mistakes because they are that experienced, but think they're too experienced for the opponent that they're facing. Almeida has the possibility of finishing this fight. I think Almeida is better kind of everywhere. I think he's the better wrestler, ironically. Being a Brazilian, that's the irony right there. And he's better technical jiu-jitsu, and boxing-wise, like I said, Pyle might have a little more power, but Almeida, I think, has the better skill. Almeida got dropped by Hughes, but okay, Almeida, unanimous decision. Preliminary cards, Spike TV. Edson Barboza against Anthony Njokuani. Hell yes. Hell yes. Put this on my TV. It's going to be huge, and it's going to be epic, and it's going to be it's going to be awesome. You look at this, and Njokuani, Barboza, strikers. And the thing is, Njokuani, he's had a little more exposure. A lot of people don't know about Barboza. Very, very good striker. There's a lot of hype behind him with the hardcore fans. So, being a hardcore fan myself, do I buy into the Barboza hype, or do I go with the more experienced, I mean, this is a huge fight coming, Njokuani's been with the WEC. He's fought on TV before. Barboza, yes, on the undercard. But this is, on Spike TV, bigger exposure. Barboza, I think, is the heavier hitter. Njokuani throws a lot of flashy stuff. Barboza, I think, is the better wrestler. Again, I think he's the better. It's not very hard to be the better grappler than Njokuani at this point. Njokuani may prove me wrong in the long term as he is, expanding his repertoire. But Barboza, I think he's a better boxer. I think better leg kicks, and I think the leg kicks early on, very heavy leg kicks, and I think it's going to dictate how this fight goes. I think, if you leg kick somebody and if you're very good at it, you're going to take a lot of the power out of the lead leg. I don't know if he's going to switch stances, because it's not like orthodox against southpaw. You got two orthodox fighters fighting. And Barboza, if he circles right, which I think he's going to do, and, step in and try to avoid the combinations, because he's going to have to move right and step in pretty far, to kick the leg of Njokuani, because if he moves right, but if he moves right, he'll be okay. I'm getting way too technical about this, but if he moves right and steps in hard and, kicks the outside leg of Njokuani's lead leg, I think it'll take a lot of the power against Njokuani. And I think, again, Javtutsko proved that you can hurt Njokuani on the feet, and I think Barboza's going to do that. I think he'll catch him in the second round and finish it on the ground via TKO. So there you go. I stumbled through that one, but hopefully it made sense logistically. Luis Kane against Elliot Marshall. Elliot Marshall stepping in on fairly short notice. Luis Kane, yeah, he's shown some deficiency. He was around the top 10 a while ago. Elliot Marshall from Tough Fame, black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I think the combination, a lot of people were outraged that Elliot Marshall got cut from the UFC. But here's the thing. His wins, you did that too. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he won. And the loss that he had was like, yeah. So the UFC, I think, was completely justified. He's not that exciting. The only finish that he had was against Jules Boucher, which everybody saw coming from a mile away. You could just not even watch MMA and you'd be like, yeah, he's gonna submit that guy in the first round. Oh, look what happened. Luis Kane, I think Elliot Marshall's striking style is not a power striking. He uses a fairly good jab, decent footwork. I think Luis Kane, his best bet here, since Marshall doesn't have great takedowns at all. I think his wrestling is a complete deficiency. Off his back, he's not that good either. For being a black belt, I don't think he's an elite black belt. And I think Kane, whatever you want to say, needs to do what he did against Sokoju, although quicker, and kind of bull rush him and throw straight punches and just try to finish. I'm going to pick Luis Kane by first round TKO. I just don't think that much of Elliot Marshall in this matchup. He may be a decent fighter. Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, main card, here we go. Mirko Cro Cop against Brendan Schaub. Brendan Schaub's fight to lose. He may be kind of overconfident, as people have been pegging him, but he has quicker hands. He has better hands. Good defensively, except in the Roy Nelson fight. Better wrestler. Not that he maybe try to mix it up, I think is what he should try to do, just to throw Mirko off. Try to go for takedowns. But his hands are better. Mirko's slowing down. His chin's not the same. He doesn't have the killer instinct. Brendan Schaub, second round TKO. I'm sorry to say that, but it's going to happen. So just go with it. Mirko is not Mirko anymore. He's Mirko Filipovic. He's not Cro Cop. Nate Marquardt against Dan Miller. Dan Miller was supposed to fight on the undercard. Akiyama, of course, with the tragedy in Japan, will not be able to fight. Therefore, taking on Nate Marquardt in this one. Dan Miller doesn't get any breaks. 185 isn't like the deepest division by any means, but he's getting top 5 fighters every fight except for the ones that he wins, which are not top 5 fighters. Nate Marquardt in the UFC, is he top 5? He's around there, 5, 6, somewhere around there. And skill wise, Marquardt's the heavier puncher, it's a better striker. Miller may be the better wrestler, but I don't think he'll use it. Miller is the better submission guy, for sure. And unless Miller dives for a leg and gets a knee bar somehow, I don't know. I just can't pick Dan Miller. I'd like to pick Dan Miller. I think it's going to be closer than people think it's going to be, because Yushin Okami was able to stymie Marquardt, and Marquardt really isn't as good as people think he is, because of how he falters in, bigger fights when the pressure's put on him. But the pressure's not on him in this fight. I think it's going to be a very, very close fight, back and forth. Miller may be able to guillotine him, but I think Miller's best chance is diving for some legs and looking for a leg lock, because Marquardt's not really that versed in them. Marquardt by split decision. I don't know what to think of this fight. It's a very, very tough fight to pick, but I'll go with Marquardt by split decision. Jim Miller brothers. Miller squared. Okay, against Kamal Shahrus. Don't like this matchup at all. You can look at this entire card and be like, yeah, Joe Silva. Joe Silva, and you want to fucking pick him up and just, yeah, awesome, and like hug him and like be that guy to him. But this fight fucking sucks. Hate it. Don't like this fight at all. Kamal Shahrus, he's okay. Okay? Nobody knows how old this dude is. He may be 57. He may be 22. Nobody knows how old he is. He's not 22. That's a hint. He's not 22. Very good wrestling. Doesn't use it. Technical striking doesn't exist. Cardio, non-existent. Comes in with just a semi-Olympic background and decides he wants to fight MMA, and he has a decent chin. This is Jim Miller. This is the UFC. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose badly. Miller, no. He's not going to stand right in front of you and trade punches, okay? You lost to Jamie Varner, okay? You barely beat Bart Palashevsky, and that's only because of your takedowns. Jim Miller, very good striker, good wrestler, and very good grappler. You're going to get submitted, and you're going to get submitted quickly. Jim Miller may lock up a guillotine. He may lock up a knee bar. He may lock up an arm bar. He may technically outpoint you until you get gassed, and then you dive for a ridiculous takedown, and then he takes your back and rear naked chokes you. But he's going to finish you, and it's going to happen. Jim Miller, by whatever he wants, whenever he wants. So, there you go. Uriah Faber against Eddie Wineland. I like the matchup only because Eddie Wineland, very good streak, and it's very, whereas in, like, you have Uriah Faber in the WEC, it would have been very easy for them to go, oh, he won one fight, and give him a title shot against Cruz. At least they're putting him in against, a fighter who he's had the belt before. He's had the bantamweight belt. And it's a good stylistic matchup. And, it makes sense. It really makes sense. Eddie Wineland, good boxer. Mixes up his strikes very well. Goes to the body. Good takedown defense. But Uriah Faber in this one, he looks quicker at 135 for what it's worth. He makes the cut very easily. Better wrestling than Eddie Wineland. Way better grappling. And I think the grappling is going to be what ultimately, unless Wineland, and he has power in his hands, but he's going to have a one-punch knockout. And Uriah Faber's got a good chin. Aside from the one shot from MTB that put him down and lost him his 145-pound title, he's got a good chin. I mean, he doesn't really get dropped all that often. I mean, if ever, again, except for that fight. And he's quick and elusive. He's got very good footwork. And I think at a certain point in this one, Uriah Faber is going to take him down, either, guillotine him off a transitional mistake by Wineland, or he'll take his back and submit him. He submitted a Sunsao. He submitted Mizugaki. And these guys are very good grapplers, and I don't think you should look past that. And it's not just the Uriah name. It's that Faber is very good at what he does. So Uriah Faber, late first, early second round submission. Mauricio Shogun, who I was thinking about this fight earlier today, and I was driving in my car back from the gym, and I was thinking, all I thought was Bruce Buffer introducing the fight, and I literally got goosebumps. Mauricio Shogun, who, for those of you who don't understand, is my favorite fighter of all time. And I will put that out there. And a lot of guys don't like to say on YouTube who their favorite fighters are because they want to remain objective, or they want to seem objective. And I'm going to tell you right now that I'm objective about this fight, absolutely 100%. And even though Shogun's my favorite fighter. So here we go. John Jones thrust into the title fight after an injury to Rashad Evans. Drama between the camp, to Greg Jackson. Oh, what's going on over here? Nobody cares about what's going on over here. Let's focus on the Shogun fight, okay? Shogun. And also, when I was at the gym, and this is what made me think of it, was the sports science. He kicked his tie kick on sports science for ESPN, was the hardest recorded strike ever on sports science. Nearly 2,800 pounds of force on his tie kick. His tie kick was freaking fabulous. It was so perfect. His technique on it, his technique for the tie kick was absolutely freaking phenomenal. The slow motion on that, this is the videotape you need to show Muay Thai students when they're first learning how to throw a kick. Turning the outside leg at a 45-degree angle. Using his lead hand to pull. After he pulled, blocked, through. Oh my God, it was a thing of beauty. His punch also registered nearly 1,200 pounds of force, I believe. And I'm gonna stop talking about it. Shogun coming off a layoff. He's had knee problems in the past. Apparently, he's done all the right things, had the surgery in America. Not that everybody else sucks and America's awesome. They have awesome doctors. I'm sure doctors are good everywhere, but at least he took it serious this time, took his recovery seriously. He's a guy, this is why I say, because he's a guy that he gets surgery and he gets antsy and wants to do everything, and that's bad for recovery. He took his recovery seriously, he slowed it down, and he waited for it to heal properly, which is, I think, what needed to happen. John Jones, what advantage does he have in this one? In the clinch, he's got a reach advantage. Here's the thing. His reach advantage means dick. And I'm sorry to you who are just flapping away, and that was graphic. I apologize, but at his reach, he has an 84-inch reach advantage. Oh my God. Yes, he does. What does he do with it? Throws crazy, stupid punches. He looks so awkward striking, and yes, it's been effective against nobody. Okay? His striking means nothing. He can't throw a jab. He cannot throw a jab right hand. He has no sense how long he's been training, which is not that long, but he still should have some sense of how to throw a jab straight right. But he doesn't. He throws crazy spinning kicks. He throws crazy elbows. And here's the thing. Shogun, yeah, some people think he's not the most technical striker. He's a very, very good striker. And his takedown defense, yeah, he got taken down against, he got taken down against Machida. But he didn't care if he got taken down against Machida because he knew he was going to get right back up. All he was concerned about was the striking. It all comes down to game plan, okay? And he's had less time to game plan. But Jon Jones, he has the wrestling advantage, he has the reach advantage. Here's the thing. Can Shogun get inside the reach? Can Shogun avoid the takedown? I don't think he's worried about avoiding the takedown, which I think may be a problem. Because if Jones can take him down and control him, Jones can win the fight. If Jones can land some crazy, ludicrous, flipping, backflip, stupid kick, good for him. Shogun is the way better technical striker. Absolutely off the charts better than Jon Jones. It's not even freaking close. And anybody who thinks it's close, get the hell off my video. I don't even want you to comment because I'll just freaking delete it right away because you're a complete moron. Shogun, can he get inside the reach? I think he needs to use leg kicks again. I think he needs to throw straight punches. I think Jones, this is what I think is going to happen. And I think Jones is going to throw some crazy, stupid, sloppy punch. And Shogun's going to counter it with a huge right hand and put him down. And he's going to finish it by TKO in the second round. That's my pick. Jon Jones, yeah. A lot of people want to look at the press conference, and we haven't seen the weigh-in stare down yet. But at the press conference, Jones had his hand in his pocket, didn't want to look at Shogun. Whether it's a strategy or not, he doesn't look comfortable at all. And he did it against Bader. He doesn't ever want to look at people in the eye, and that's fine. Some people have that. But either he's trying to intimidate Hua, who has faced everybody on the planet, the best light heavyweights on the planet, Shogun has faced. And Jon Jones, who's an up-and-comer, wants to try to intimidate him, or he's scared. That's two options. Body language-wise, that's my breakdown of the body language, okay? So, does it really matter? No. I mean, Shogun is not timid. He's not scared of Jones. He's not worried about Jones. He goes about his business. He's never been vindictive. He's never taken a fight personally. A lot of, guys like, Vanderlei, for example, take fights personally. But Shogun's never been that guy. Shogun technically breaks down a fight, and I think he's way better grappler. He may finish the fight. If Jones takes him down, I think Jones, again, this is another not talked about aspect of the fight, is Jones has long legs, long arms. Better for Shogun to grab on the ground, I think, if he actually gets taken down. Whether Shogun wants to, helicopter sweep him and get back to his feet and strike from there, or if he wants to go for a knee bar, I think or an arm bar, or an omoplata. He almost finished Arona with an omoplata. Arona is one of the best grapplers on the planet, or he was at the time in MMA, for sure. So, I think this fight favors Hua, like either way it goes. So, maybe submission, maybe TKO. I'm picking the TKO version, because that's how he finishes most of his fights. Those are my picks. UFC 128. Enjoy the fights. It's going to be sick. Stay metal. Later.